Imagine being a child and waking up every day not knowing if there will be food on the table or not, yet dreaming of a future filled with boundless success and innovation. It sounds like a fairy tale or some kind of movie script, right? But what if I told you this was the reality for one of the most iconic figures in the automobile industry? Meet Henry Royce. Yes, the Rolls-Royce. Today, his name is synonymous with luxury, excellence, and engineering prowess. But have you ever wondered how he went from being a bankrupt child to creating one of the most prestigious car brands in the world? Henry Royce's journey was anything but easy. Born into a struggling family, young Henry faced unimaginable hardships. At just 9 years old, he was already working to support his family after his father went bankrupt. Can you picture that? A 9-year-old is not playing with toys but working to make ends meet. Now, you might be wondering, how did a boy from such humble beginnings manage to climb the ladder of success and end up creating the Rolls-Royce empire? What drove him? What were the turning points in his life? And most importantly, what can we learn from his story? In this video, we're diving deep into the life of Henry Royce. We'll uncover his early struggles, his relentless work ethic, and the innovative spirit that led him to greatness. Stay with me as we explore the incredible story of how Henry Royce turned adversity into advantage and failure into fortune. And trust me, you won't want to miss this. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand the man behind the machine, but also feel inspired by his unyielding determination and visionary genius. But before we start, make sure you've subscribed to our channel. Let's rewind the clock to 1863. Picture this: little Henry Royce was born in Alwalton, England. Now, Alwalton sounds like it should be the setting of some picturesque fairy tale, but Henry's life was anything but a fairy tale. His family was dirt poor. And I don't mean we can't afford a new toy poor. I mean, we might not eat today poor. His father's business went bankrupt when Henry was just a boy. Imagine growing up with that kind of uncertainty hanging over you. By the tender age of 9, Henry was out in the world, hustling to support his family. 9 years old. Most kids that age are busy trying to figure out how to tie their shoes properly or who their favorite superhero is. But not Henry. He was out there, grinding away, doing odd jobs to keep the family afloat. It's hard to imagine, right? That level of responsibility at such a young age. So, here's where it gets interesting. Despite all these hardships, Henry had an insatiable thirst for knowledge. You know how some kids get hooked on video games or comic books? Well, Henry got hooked on learning about machines. Yeah, really. Imagine a kid who gets excited not about the latest toy, but about how gears and levers work. By the time he was 15, he had landed an apprenticeship at the Great Northern Railway. And let me tell you, he didn't just punch the clock and call it a day. No, sir. He spent his nights buried in books on engineering and technology. After finishing his apprenticeship, Henry didn't stop there. He hopped from job to job, soaking up all the experience he could. Now, here's a fun fact: in 1884, Henry co-founded a small electrical and mechanical business. Sounds impressive, right? Well, hold your applause. It wasn't all smooth sailing. They faced financial struggles that would make any startup founder break out in a cold sweat. It was like trying to run a tech startup today with a dial-up connection. Frustrating, to say the least. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, it did. The business went belly up, bankrupt, kaput. Henry was left to pick up the pieces. But here's the kicker. Did he give up? Nope. He saw every failure as a learning opportunity. I mean, how many of us can say we do that? Most of us spill our coffee, and it ruins our day. Henry faced bankruptcy and thought, hey, what can I learn from this? Fast forward to 1904. Enter Charles Rolls. Now, if this were a superhero movie, this is where the sidekick comes in. Rolls was the charming businessman behind Royce's engineering genius. They met, and it was like peanut butter meeting jelly, pure magic. Together, they formed Rolls-Royce, the Rolls-Royce 10 HP. And let me tell you, this wasn't just any car. It was a masterpiece. Imagine the buzz of launching the latest iPhone back in the day. People were going nuts over it. Now, if you think that's cool, wait till you hear about the Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost. Launched in 1906, this car was the epitome of luxury and reliability. It wasn't just about getting from point A to point B. It was about doing it in style, comfort, and without the constant fear of breaking down. Imagine driving from New York to Los Angeles without a single hiccup. That's what the Silver Ghost could do. In fact, it earned the title the best car in the world. Talk about setting the bar high. To put it in perspective, the Silver Ghost could go 14,371 miles without a breakdown. Yeah, you heard me right. That's like driving from New York to La 5 times over without so much as a hiccup. Imagine that kind of reliability today. Your car would practically be giving you a high five every time you started it. But Henry didn't stop at cars. During World War I, Rolls-Royce expanded into aviation engines. Picture this: you're in the middle of a war, and reliability isn't just a nice to have. It's a matter of life and death. Rolls-Royce engines powered some of the most reliable aircraft of the war. It's like your favorite band dropping a surprise album that's even better than their debut. Rolls-Royce was setting new standards left and right. Even as he grew older, Henry never stopped innovating. He kept pushing the boundaries, always striving for perfection. His dedication to quality and excellence became the cornerstone of the Rolls-Royce brand. Today, every car that bears the Rolls-Royce name carries with it a piece of Henry's relentless pursuit of perfection. So, what can we learn from Henry Royce? For starters, never give up. No matter how tough things get, there's always a way through. Embrace your failures, they're just lessons in disguise. And always strive for excellence. It's not about where you start, it's about where you're headed and the journey you take to get there. But let's dig even deeper, shall we? Henry's journey wasn't just a straight shot to success. There were countless twists and turns. Imagine being in your late teens and early 20s, constantly jumping from job to job, trying to find your footing. That's what Henry did. He worked in a variety of engineering roles, always the eager learner, always looking for that next opportunity to prove himself. He landed a job at Greenwood Batley, an engineering firm in Leeds. Here, Henry's talent started to shine through. He wasn't just a cog in the machine, he was the guy looking at the machine and thinking, how can I make this better? It's like when you're working on a group project and there's that one person who not only does their part, but elevates the whole team. That was Henry. But life had more lessons in store. In 1884, he co-founded F.H. Royce & Company with his friend, Ernest Claremont. They started with making electrical components, dynamos, cranes and other equipment. Sounds fancy, right? But starting a business is like cooking a complex dish. You need the right ingredients, timing and a bit of luck. Unfortunately, they had more of a recipe for disaster. Financial difficulties hit them hard. They were barely keeping the lights on, quite literally. And here's where the story takes another turn. Picture this, it's 1899, and despite all the financial struggles, Henry's persistence starts paying off. His company, now known as Royce Ltd, began producing high-quality electric cranes and dynamos. Business is finally picking up, and Henry's reputation as an engineer is growing. But of course, he wasn't satisfied with just being good. No, Henry wanted to be the best. In 1903, something magical happened. Henry bought a small, two-cylinder de Courville car. Now, let me set the scene. Imagine buying a car that constantly breaks down, leaks oil, and generally drives you nuts. Most of us would probably curse our luck and move on. But Henry, he saw it as a challenge. He took that car apart piece by piece and rebuilt it, improving every single component. It's like getting a Dye furniture kit with missing pieces and creating a masterpiece out of it. The man was relentless. His tinkering paid off. The car runs smoother and more reliably. And this tinkering sparked a new idea in Henry's mind. Why not create his own car? A car that wouldn't just run but would redefine what a car could be. And thus the seed for Rolls-Royce was planted. Fast forward to May 4th, 1904. This date is etched in the annals of automotive history. It's the day Henry met Charles Rolls. Now, Rolls was no ordinary businessman. He was an aristocrat with a passion for adventure and anything that moved fast, especially cars. When Rolls and Royce met, it was like the universe aligning perfectly. Rolls was blown away by Royce's engineering prowess, and Royce was equally impressed by Rolls' business acumen and vision. Henry Royce was never one to rest on his laurels. Good wasn't good enough. He was always pushing the boundaries and striving for perfection. That's all for today. Thanks for joining me on this incredible journey. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more inspiring stories. And hey, leave a comment below about what part of Henry Royce's story inspired you the most. Until next time, keep dreaming big and pushing boundaries.